and welcome to the Alpine Valley School podcast. I'm your host, Mark Gallivan. On today's episode, we're discussing doing chores at school, what kinds of chores we require, why we do them, and what the process actually looks and sounds like. Thanks for tuning in. Before we jump in, let me share a little more about our school. Alpine Valley School is a private K-12 school located in Denver, Colorado, that follows a self-directed democratic education model, also known as the Sudbury model. On this podcast, we discuss our model of education, share stories from day-to-day life at school, and interview graduates of our program on their experiences. If you'd like to share your thoughts and opinions with the show, you can reach us at podcast@alpinevalleyschool.com, or you can find Alpine Valley School on virtually all social media by searching for our name. If you think our school may be right for you or your family or someone you know, please reach out to us to schedule a tour. We do tours of our campus all throughout the year and welcome visitors. You can set up your own tour on our website, which is alpinevalleyschool.com. Now on to today's episode. Though from the outside, it may not look like much is required of our students. After all, we have no mandatory classes or required testing. They are actually asked to take on a lot in terms of personal responsibility. This also includes responsibility to the community as a whole, and one aspect of that is doing chores. Twice a week, all school meeting members, meaning both the staff and the students, must participate in cleaning chores throughout the school. These chores are divided up by age, with a section of chores dedicated to the students 10 and up, and others for students that are under that age. Chores in the 10 and up category include things like vacuuming different sections of the building, washing windows, sweeping non-carpeted areas, and taking out the trash. Chores for younger members include indoor pickup, which is making sure that a particular section of the building is free of toys or other items, and wiping down tables and other surfaces around the building. Staff members have assigned chores that they complete as needed, often more than the required twice a week. These chores may include things like taking out trash from the large bins in the kitchen, wiping down heavily used tables, and cleaning the bathrooms. On chore days, which are Tuesday and Friday, each student signs up for a chore as they arrive for the day. A Chore-Checker is also assigned for the day. Here's Connie, one of our staff members, talking about the role of the Chore-Checker.
At Alpine Valley School, our chore system involves a key position called the Chore-Checker. This person has to be certified, which means they have to follow certain procedures in order to become a Chore-Checker, and they're pretty stringent. They have to know each chore and how it's to be done. They have to know how to check a chore to make sure that it has been completed sufficiently, and then they check off that person. So as each student and staff do their chore, they go to the Chore-Checker, and the Chore-Checker then goes with them, looks it over, makes sure it's done well, and checks them off. Until that point, the person's chore is not completed. Currently, our 3 students hold this position, and they get paid $3 for every time that they're a Chore-Checker.
The Chore-Checker ensures that all chores are completed, and that they are done to the standards set forth by the school's Aesthetics and Use Committee. This committee is a body made up of students and staff that handles the look of the building's interior, as well as managing all procedures related to doing and checking chores. A&U, as it is lovingly referred to, is also in charge of certifying chore-checkers and paying them their weekly stipend for doing their job, as Connie mentioned. To give you a sample of what it's like to be a chore-checker, I spent the afternoon following chore-checker Alder as he performed his duties, and even ended up helping out with a chore myself.
It's chore time! It's chore time! No, I'm not grabbing the paper towels that I put in.
Can you tell me what you're checking for while you're walking?
Dust and random dead bugs.
On the windowsills?
Yes. The table as well. Okay, Dan. You take a couple.
Yeah!
Anything there?
I got
The stuff. There's one over here. Where is the string coming from? Oh, it's coming all the way from there.
From the yarn bucket.
And the string.
You help me do my chores.
Yeah, what's your chore?
I don't only remember the
You want me to check with you? Okay, let's look. Okay, you need to pick up all the stuff on the floor in the tech room, and then you need to wipe down the tables in the tech room. Do you know which one the tech room is? Okay, I'll show you. Come here. Okay, so you got to make sure everything on the floor is picked up in this room, and then you got to wipe down the tables, what you can, with all the computer stuff on it, okay?
Okay, child.
So what do you see that's on the floor that would stop someone from being able to vacuum this room? Chore checking can be a demanding job. We currently have 3 chore checkers and invite interested students to begin the certification process if they want to join the ranks. So why do we do chores? Well, there's the obvious reason, which is to keep the school clean, tidy, and an enjoyable place to be. Also to ensure that school meeting officials can do their job without having to shuffle around piles of stuff all the time. Beyond that, it's my personal belief that chores instill a sense of personal responsibility for the school into the community. If I have to step away from my very engaging game of Foursquare in order to vacuum the office, only to have my friend come in and dump a box of Legos all over the floor, I may be more inclined to take action than I would have been otherwise. The same goes for all areas of the school. Doing chores sends the message that this is our school, and we all have a responsibility to keep it clean and an enjoyable place for everyone to be. Chore time each week gives us 2 opportunities to remember that important lesson. Chore time can also be an opportunity for the budding entrepreneur to make their move. Some students have made doing other people's chores, for a fee, of course, into a veritable industry. Here's Kelsey, an AVS graduate, talking about her experience doing chores for money.
So when I went to AVS, I got really excited about and jumped on the opportunity to start asking people if I could do their chores when we came up with a buyout option for doing chores. I got a chore with $3. And basically, somehow it came to be that if you wanted to buy out of a chore, you could just do that, or you could pay Kelsey $2 and she would do your chore. And so I actually made it a little business, and it fits perfectly with me actually now because I am a total entrepreneur. And so I would, I think my absolute record was like 13 chores in a day. Like I had every chore except one. That really taught me a lot, actually. I love cleaning too, so it was like really easy money for me, and I was already there, so it wasn't that big of a deal to like vacuum the quiet room for $2 or to like clean a toilet for $2. I guess that was the initiation into me learning a little bit about how I'm very entrepreneurial, and yeah, so that was really amazing for me.
So you can see that while on the surface, chores seem like a simple proposition, there's a lot involved. And to me, it's a great example of how our school teaches the important lessons like personal responsibility and civic engagement, not to mention the very practical skill of operating a vacuum cleaner. If you want to learn more about other aspects of life at our school, you can check out the entire podcast catalog at alpinevalleySchool.com/podcast. If you have an idea for an episode, a question, or a comment, drop us a line at podcast@alpinevalleySchool.com or reach out to us on social media. This is episode 47 of the Alpine Valley School podcast. You can find show notes for this episode at alpinevalleySchool.com/podcast/EP47. On the next episode, we'll be exploring another important aspect of life at school, elections. Stay tuned for that episode coming in 2 weeks. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts so that you never miss an episode. You can also leave us a review if you feel inclined, which helps new listeners find our show. As always, thanks for listening. I'm Mark Gallivan. This is the Alpine Valley School podcast, and we'll be back again soon with more stories of real learning for real life.
Bye.